Hey there, and welcome to exercise number 89. If you want to solve this one on your own, then click on the link in the description. If not, keep watching and we're going to solve it together. In this one, we need to write a function named customBind that will be used to extend the function prototype. It will receive two parameters. The first one is a variable of any type we're going to call newThis. And the second parameter is an array of items that again can be of any type, and we're going to call this one params. The function should return a new function, let's call it bindedFn, that doesn't accept any parameters. But when calling it, so when calling this bindedFn, we should actually call the initial function, but using newThis as the this context, and the items inside params as arguments for the function. I know this might be a bit confusing, so let's look at the example below. So we take the customBind function and we assign it to the function prototype. And then we have here a function called addToThis that receives two numbers as parameters and returns the result of this plus number 1 plus number 2. Below, we create our binded function by calling the customBind prototype method that we created on our addToThis function. And we call it with two parameters. First one is number 5, and the second parameter is an array of numbers. Now this number 5 will be used as our this context, so this one here, and then each number here will actually be passed to our function one by one. So number 10 will be equal to number 1, and this one 15 will be number 2. So basically when console logging calling bindedFn, we get 30, which is the result of 5 plus 10 plus 15. And again, why do we get 30? Because 5 is this, so it's number 1 is 10, number 2 is 15, so the result is 30. Now that we've read the description, let's go into the code area and solve this function. So the first thing I want to do is let me create the binded function. And I'm just going to create an empty function here and then return it, right? Because we need to return a new function. Now, our binded function doesn't need to receive any parameters. This is what it says here, doesn't receive any parameters, so that's good. Inside it, we need to call the function we're using this on, right? Because we're putting it on the prototype. So we're doing function prototype.customBind, and then we're calling this on a function. And how do we get that function? Well, that function is actually going to be this, because here I'm doing an arrow function. This here is going to be the function we call customBind on, and I hope that makes sense. We could test it, so let me just copy the code here. And let's just say addToThis is going to return, let me just comment this. Let's just say that this returns 22. And we should get here return, let's return it. And we get 22, right? So we managed by doing this here to call the function. Now the problem is we need to call it by passing a custom this context and by passing custom params. And to do that, we're going to use another function on the function prototype, which is the apply function, which I have opened right here. And apply basically allows us to call a function with a custom this and with custom parameters. So I mean, you're free to look at the documentation here if you don't know the function. I'm just going to skip over it for now. And I'm going to go here in the solution. I'm going to do this dot apply, and we're going to have our newThis, and we're going to have our params. And now I can comment this hard-coded 22, and let me just do this one. And we should get 30. Now let's just put here, let's say this one adds 3 numbers, number 2 plus number 3, and then I'm going to put here 100, and we should get 130. Correct. Now let's test our solution, and voila, it works. Cheers, and see you in the next one.